Okay, so I am, okay, you're good. Nothing's frozen.
Wait, go.
Okay. So to start off with my positionality, I was born here in America. I'm a 19-year-old female and I am half Cuban. So I have immigrant parents. Alrighty. So to start off with, can y'all introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name is Zoe. I was born in Cuba. I've been living here in the United States for like 25 years. I came over through the lottery visa that it was back then a legal way for Cubans to come over to the States.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Maxi Gonzalez. I'm from Cuba. I came last year. I've been here for 5 months.
Alrighty. Okay. So to start off, Zoe, do you feel that the experience of living in the US is different for immigrants than for non-immigrants?
I feel in my experience is a little bit different. I'm gonna put you an example. If we get stopped in like a routine stop traffic, when the officers start asking you for your papers and then you start having a conversation, and why not, as soon as that they hear a little bit of your accent, they immediately start their racial profile. And most likely you end up with a ticket instead of a warning.
Alrighty. Maxi, what are the benefits, if any, of being an immigrant in the US?
Well, the benefits are all the opportunities that we have in this country. For example, access to basic necessities like food, housing, and transportation.
Alrighty. Zoe, what are the drawbacks, if any, of being an immigrant in the US?
I feel the drawback of being an immigrant in the U.S. Are the long process of becoming a citizen and attaining to the same rights that those that were born here have.
Like voting.
Like voting, exactly.
All right. Maxi, is there a myth, stereotype, or misconception about immigration that you would wish would be corrected or eliminated?
The stereotype of immigrants being undereducated and a burden to society because of the minimum job wage that we have to do when we arrive. For example, I'm a professor in Cuba, and when I get my work permit, I have to work in any job available, like washing dishes and cleaning floors, etc.
All right. Zoe, what do you think is the best way to help immigrants not only survive but thrive in this country?
I think to becoming, I think we need to create ways to accelerate the process efficiently so the immigrants can have their documents and be integrated to society.
Okay. Another question for Zoe. In lecture 12 on immigration, examples of immigration were given: lottery visa, sponsorship, etc. You sponsored your mother. What was it like to be a sponsor for your mother?
It was a difficult process. It was very costly and a very slow and frustrated process. It took me around 10, 12 years to bring my mom, but usually it takes between 10 and 20 years to bring a family, specifically from Cuba. That's my case. Yeah.
All right. Zoe, in lecture 2, the subject of positionality was brought up. How have you been treated differently in the world as an immigrant as opposed to your native-born family members?
In my experience in the beginning, I faced with the again the racial profile of my work or employee, and they didn't pay me as much as um, my other coworkers, Caucasians. Even though I was like, I feel overqualified for the job that I was doing, since I was trained to be a lawyer. I was underpaid and overworked.
Okay. So, an example, have you ever felt like racially profile, or like did you ever experience any racial differences whenever you were with your Caucasian husband at a store as opposed to if you were with your brother or your mother?
Yes. Like I said before, we're under consulate surveillance. Like either the lady on the cashier is always looking, what are you touching? What are you looking like you're going to steal it, just because of the color of your skin or because you have an accent.
Okay. And Maxi, in lecture 9, the topic of the UBI index was discussed. To give basic background, the UBI index is when the government gives a set amount of money to each citizen for them to be able to thrive better in society. Upon arrival, would you have benefited from the UBI index if that were in place?
Yes, I will.
Alrighty. Okay. Thank you so much for participating in my interview, and I hope y'all have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Howdy, this is my third interview for CRE number 3 about immigration. To lay out my positionality again, I am a 19-year-old female that was born into the US, but to an immigrant mother. She immigrated from Cuba in the 90s. So, to introduce my guest.
I'm Marcus Albert. I'm from an American family that's been here for multiple generations, and no part of my family has immigrated in the last few years.
Okay. So for our first question, in the course media video, the Try Guys try immigrating to America. They are asked to undergo a series of trials in order to immigrate to the US. How easy do you think it is to immigrate to the US?
I don't think it's extremely easy. I think there's definitely a lot of bumps along the way that make it difficult for immigrants to get in. And once you're in, you're not always 100% secure.
All right. In the course media titled Immigration Transcript, the subject of immigrants taking American jobs was brought up. Do you agree with this sort of sentiment that they are taking American jobs?
I partially agree that they come and take jobs, but I think it's also the fact that they take jobs that no American really wants. Like they take the jobs that are in the kitchens and restaurants, and a bunch of other jobs that no American really willingly wants to have. So yeah, I think it's looked down upon that they take those jobs, but it's really not affecting any American that is looking for a job as much as people think that it is.
Right. In Course Media, Chapter 2 of Open Borders, the idea that most of the world is economically like Antarctica is brought up, inhospitable for wealth creation. Do you feel fortunate to have been born in the US as opposed to a different country?
I do feel fortunate. There's a lot more opportunities I feel growing up in the US.
All right. And our final question, in Course Media, Chapter 3 of Open Borders, the question of the burden of immigrants on taxpayers is addressed. The U.S. actually benefits from educated, skilled immigrants coming into the U.S. because the U.S. didn't have to pay for their education. Were you aware of this, and how does it make you feel about immigration economically?
I was not aware of this entirely, but it makes sense from certain countries that people are going to have education no matter where they come from. So I think it has it benefits the U.S. A lot more than people like to say. I feel like there's a lot of hate against immigration and open borders, and this just proves that economically it could help having those immigrants come over.
All right, thank you so much for answering the questions.